What's up, guys? I'm Fabian Vargas from the F&P Vargas Show. This episode, I am very excited to interview a very close person to me, my wife, Pamela Vargas. This month is her 2-year anniversary, as a real estate agent. Very excited to interview her, to ask her questions, and to find out what has been like the first 2 years, the struggles that she's had, the ups, the downs, if she's even going to stay in real estate, what is her next goal, what is it that she's planning to do. So I'm extremely excited to interview her, so please stay tuned, and I hope you guys enjoy the episode just like I did. And again, you know where guys to follow us, and comment below when we're done. All right, well, here we are. Welcome everybody to the F&P Vargas Show. I'm Fabian Vargas.
And Pamela Vargas.
So today I got some exciting interview going on. I'm actually going to interview my beautiful and wonderful wife, Pam. This is going to be an exclusive interview for her, as well as I think it's going to be very informative for other real estate agents. Whether you're new, you're a veteran, whatever it is, this is going to be important. And not only real estate agents, but I think in business in general, anybody that's starting a business. So we're going to kick it off. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
It's been 2 years since you received your real estate license.
Yes, 2 years.
2 years marks this month that she received her real estate license. Yeah. So in the last 2 years, let me see if I get this right. In the last 2 years, you are a member of the National Association of Realtors.
Correct.
You are a member of the Northeast Florida Association of Realtors.
Yes.
You have become certified NACATI agent.
Yes.
You have also become a certified luxury real estate agent.
Yes, I have.
And you recently completed the sponsorship for the Commitment to Excellence by the National Association of Realtors.
Yes, I'm very proud of that.
Yes, that was a pretty intense program. You have done sales. Let me get this right because I have it on my phone because this is public information. So you have a total of 8 transactions in 2 years. 6 on the listing side, 2 on the buyer side. That's not including... because I know this for a fact because we're together. That's not including referrals. That's not including property management, where you receive 10% of renters.
Yes.
That's not including also receiving 10% of the management accounts.
Correct.
And that's also not including the fees for leases and finding renters apartments.
Correct.
Which is very popular in big suburban areas like New York and big urban areas like New York and California and stuff like that. So I did the numbers, and I was actually wrong about this, so I had to do the numbers myself. You are at about, in the last 2 years, about 2 million, close to 2 million in sales volume. Which equals, if you take everything into account, it equals about 60,000 in GCI in the last 2 years, which is gross commission income.
Yep, that's about it.
So now this is important. 60,000 in GCI, everybody's like, wow, you did pretty good in commissions. However, and this is not going to be a show on putting her on a pedestal, because it's not. So 60,000 GCI, we subtract business expenses.
Yes.
We subtract self-employment tax when you do your taxes, because you are self-employed and you're actually taxed at the highest bracket when you are self-employed.
Sure.
Because you have to pay for self-employment tax, you have to pay for your own insurance, your own pretty much everything that an employer that has employees pays. But because you don't have any employees, you have to cover every single expense for yourself. So you subtract all your expenditures for the last 2 years. You didn't bring home anything.
Pretty
almost.
much. Pretty much.
I mean, if you do the numbers correctly, after taxes, business expenses, membership fees,
Yes.
because to be involved with NAR and NEFAR and MLS and have the super
It
key,
adds up.
all these expenses adds up big time. So even though it's 60,000 GCI, yeah, you didn't bring home anything. You're probably making less than, no offense to anybody when I say this, because I get a lot of crap when I say this, but you're making less than a fast food worker.
Yes, and it's absolutely true.
So my question is this: why do it? Why do it? Why continue? So you have 2 years in. The failure rate for a real estate agent in the first 5 years, depending on the source, is 85 to 90%, depending on the source. They've rendered it down to 87% of new real estate agents fail in the first 5 years. Most of them in the first 2 years.
That's correct.
And it's probably because everything that we just talked about.
Yes, if you don't have, if like me, and this is very true, if you don't have enough resources in the beginning prior to you getting into, let's say, real estate or any other business, if you don't have 4 to 6 to 7 months of reserves, like in savings, you're not going to make it unless you have some other side hustle that's going to help you, actually hold you over. When you're first getting into real estate, the biggest expenses are in the beginning. When I first started, I got my license in November, came the NEFAR dues. And just the NEFAR dues alone cost me about $1,500. And that's December for January, and January for the entire year. And then you have your e-key, which is your lockbox, and that's about $20 a month. And it may not seem a lot, but it adds up. Okay, so when you become a brand new anything, what's the first thing you have to do to get yourself out there? What do you have to do to get yourself out there? You've got to spend money. So as much as you have is what's going to actually let you live for the next months or so. Typically, the first real estate, the first transaction that you will have in real estate is usually 4 to 6 months. And that's...
So with that said, what was yours? It was pretty accurate, right? When was your first transaction?
Accurate.
What, about March the following year?
My first closing was April.
It was in April the following year. So that she got her license in November. So you got December, January, February, March, and April. So about 5 months.
5 months.
Take it away, not November, since you got your license later on at the end of November. So about 5 months you got your transaction. So now she already talked about all those dues that she had to pay up front, and then she had to wait 5 months to actually get a check.
Yes.
Actually get a check 5 months later, because real estate agents, all our real estate fans, and for those of you that don't understand real estate transactions, we work on 3 months intervals pretty much. It takes about 45 days to 90 days to close once you get an escrow, which means once you have a buyer or seller that wants the home, and now they actually put an offer in, and you have a contract signed, and we're ready to start the process of closing on the house. It takes anywhere from 45 days to 90 days, typically, unless you have a cash buyer, you have a fast sale, which is another subject. But typically, it's 45 days to 90 days. But nobody talks about the work that you have to put in order to get a house in escrow. You have to lead generate. You have to find a buyer or listing. So there's a lot that has to do with this. So yes, it took her 5 months to get a transaction. So with that said, I'm gonna go back to the original question: is if you could go work at McDonald's or Burger King for the minimum wage, why do this? I mean, it's been 2 years that you're in it. You already know what it takes. Yes. So why continue the grind and the hustle and the sacrifices and the pain and everything? Why continue this?
Because I want to build something for myself and not for somebody else.
Interesting.
So I will grind for myself, and I will hustle for myself and for my family, so that way I can have the future that I want in a shorter amount of time than you would working for somebody else. Okay.
So okay, so now you've been in it for 2 years. So you've been through a few brokers.
Yes. It's very important.
Yes, you've been through a few brokers now. Some did strictly sales, some did property management, some did commercial. So you dabbled a little bit into everything. You've sold land, you sold condos, you sold detached single family, you sold new construction.
Yes.
You sold your high-end listing, which in the market, high-end is considered, everybody's a different market, but here, high-end is considered 2 times above the medium priced home. Luxury is considered 3 times, which the house that she sold was borderline high-end luxury. It was just about 3 times the market, but it wasn't that much, so it had a bit of, technically it was high-end. So with that said, you have dabbled into a little bit of different stuff. What, in your opinion, being the entrepreneur that you are now, what have you learned from when you first got into real estate to what you know now as a real estate agent, and knowing what it takes to be a successful real estate agent? Because 8 transactions, not including everything else, but just 8 transactions in sales, $2 million in sales volume, 60,000 in GCI. It is a little bit above your average real estate agent, because according to the statistics, your average real estate agent only does 4.5 transactions their first 2 years. So you're just slightly above that, above average. However, it hasn't been a lucrative business like a lot of people think or hope they have. And I'm sure that you also hope that you had more transactions.
Absolutely. Everybody does.
But what have you learned from the beginning to now as far as becoming a successful real estate agent? What does that process look like from the time that you started to the time now?
You definitely have to put yourself on a schedule. You definitely have to be disciplined enough to keep at it every single day. You have to build your foundation. Because if you don't have that foundation and you're all over the place, you're going to be weak in way too many areas, to the point where you're just going to give up because you didn't place your foundation correctly. What I have found is, one, you just don't give up. Real estate can be a very lucrative industry if you are surrounded with the right people, you're surrounded with a great brokerage. And when I say brokerage for you can mean something different for me. So make sure that you have a list of questions to bring to the brokerage, that what you're looking for, and also, more importantly, what they're going to give to you. And whatever that is, make sure it's what you want. Because you have your splits. So if somebody's taking a certain amount of percentage away from me, what are you giving me? So it has to go both ways. Get yourself on a good schedule, and to really know what a good schedule is, follow somebody who's been in the industry for a while. Mimic what they do. I know a lot of people try to reinvent the wheel to try to do different things, but sometimes it's always best to mimic somebody else, and you'll see that they've gotten there and you can get there as well.
So what do you think is, for any business person, anybody that's trying to do, trying to go on their own, become self-employed with whatever space or industry it is, what do you feel in these last 2 years of meeting top producers? Because, it's that same statistic of the 80-20 rule. You got 80% of the people doing mediocre things and doing mediocre sales and all that stuff, and then you got 20% on the top. And then we already know how many real estate agents are in any market. So what is the difference between, what do you feel in the last 2 years that you've learned, and now going forward for your next 2 years? What have you learned what it takes to be a successful real estate agent or a successful business person in general, as far as when they're starting out? Like, what does it really take to be successful, as far as your opinion?
Hustle, grind, and believing in yourself. As long as you know that you can do it and you believe in it so much, focus. Stay on that line and don't let anybody get in your way. If you just and you get rid of anybody and everything around you that brings that negativity to you. I don't care if it's your mom, your dad, your sister, your husband. I don't care who. If somebody does not believe in you or what you're doing, they don't belong in your circle. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. But if you believe in you and you believe in whatever you're doing in your business, you're gold, and you just go for it. You don't give up. Doesn't matter what anybody says to you. Don't give up.
I think that's an important point to point out because, we listen to a lot of podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
We follow a lot of successful people. And I think what I hear from a lot of successful people is that, number one, don't give up. And me personally, from going back to back in the day when I was in New York and I've had, my prior endeavors back there, I think every time I've been successful was because I ate, slept, and breathed whatever it is that I was putting my mind to.
Right.
So, like when I was in the nightclub industry for 7 years, I was successful in it because that's all I did. All I did was talk about the nightclubs. I was always at the nightclubs. I was always learning about the nightclub business. I was always surrounded by other successful nightclub people. So everything in my circle had to do with nightclubs. Everything. I got up, it was nightclubs. I went to bed, it was nightclubs. I went, whatever it is I went out there, it was nightclubs. I was always surrounded by people around the nightclub industry. So it was 24/7 nightclubs.
Right.
So I think, and this is important, I think in any space that you go to, just like what you're talking about in real estate, if you want to be successful in real estate, or any business for that matter, you have to eat, breathe, and sleep whatever it is that you do.
Yep. And
like in real estate, for you, that's all there is. There is nothing else.
Exactly.
You get up, it's real estate. Throughout the day, it's real estate. You surround yourself with successful real estate agents or successful real estate investors or whatever it is. Anybody that's in the real estate space, that's who you surround yourself with. That's who you're talking to. That's who you're meeting. That's who you're doing work with.
And another important thing is, and I don't mean to cut you off, is it just came up to my brain, was if you're not sure where to start or where to begin, find yourself a coach, find yourself a mentor, somebody who's
going to get into that. Yeah, I was going to get into that.
Yeah.
But right now, let's go back to the whole point. The whole point is you have to eat, breathe, and sleep.
Right.
I agree. And I think it's the drive.
Absolutely.
I think if you look at anybody that's been successful, study anybody that's successful, even successful businesses, they get laser focused on what they're doing, and it's their drive and their passion to succeed. Not the passion for the industry itself or the love, because this is very important. There's a big difference between both. You could have a passion for something you love, or you could have a passion for something that drives you. If your drive is to succeed and you have a passion to succeed, you're gonna succeed. Mm-hmm. Now, if you have a passion for something like a particular object or something like that, that's a whole completely different ballgame. But you have to have an obsession and a passion and a drive to become successful. Right. And I think when you have that, you will find the industry that you're good at, and you could create value, and the marketplace will embrace you, and then you could be successful that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the key points are the drive, the passion, and the obsession. Yeah, and that's what most people don't have. Most people just want to kind of go into different things and chase that shiny object and be like, okay, I think I could do this. Do it for a week, see that it's not happening, or they're not good at it, or the money's not coming in, and then they just move on to the next thing. Real estate, and I think any business in general, it's a long-term play. Mm-hmm. I don't think that it's a short-term play whatsoever. You have to be in it for the long run. You have to be in it for years and years and years to come, because things are not easy. You're going to have some successful ventures, you're going to have some unsuccessful ventures, and you're going to have your up and downs like anything else. So you really have to look in the mirror and be like, okay, this is what I want. This is who I'm going to be. This is who I am. And I'm in it for the long run, no matter how long it takes me to do it. I'm going to be successful. So tell me a little bit about your up and downs this year. So you've had some serious up and downs.
Yes. Yes. And of course, in this 2-year venture of real estate, I've had to go back to a 9 to 5. And that's not to say that you're quitting. It's to say that I just need a little bit more income, like a boost of income, to help me out for a few more months, and then so that way I can get back into it again. And believe it or not, most of the time when I went back in, I found my clients going back into a customer service role that I went into. And so I always look at that as a positive. And as long as you have an end goal for what you're doing, like my whole thing about going back to a 9 to 5, which I didn't like, it took time away from what I really wanted to do. However, I just kept it on a positive note, that this is just temporary. I'm just doing this so I can get my extra income in, and once I have enough, I'm going right back into real estate full time again. So I've had that. What else have I had?
It's always been temporary for you. I mean, it's never been something that it's you know. So, so with that said, what would you? Let's go back to the whole coaching and mentoring now. So, what would you recommend? If you could do it over 2 years ago, everything that you've learned, if you could go back 2 years in time and go, quote, the right way of doing things, because there is really no right way of doing things.
But it's a lot of trial and error.
But if you could go back 2 years and erase all the downfalls and all the mistakes that you would say, because you still learn from those mistakes, but if you could go back and do it again, how would you hit the ground running, knowing what you know now? Go back 2 years ago, how would you hit the ground running this time around?
Well, I would have found a mentor a lot sooner. Definitely would have put myself most likely on a coaching program a lot sooner. I would have put myself on a more disciplined schedule, and go from there.
Would you have hit it completely just like you did? Because I know you did that in the beginning. 2 years ago, you hit the ground running. You weren't doing no 9 to 5. You weren't doing nothing. You gave up everything, laser focused on real estate for a good year, I would say.
Yeah, I think one is to focus on the niche that you want to do, study it, master it, and really run with it, and then go into something else that you might want to go into in that area of that industry. As you can heard from what he was saying, I sold high-end, I sold condos, I sold land, I sold all different types of different areas. But and I loved every moment of it. But yeah, find your niche, and and stick to what you really want to do. And a lot of it has to do with branding yourself as well, getting yourself out there. So
coaching, mentoring, definitely. I would suggest that too. I mean, you listen to any successful person, they'll tell you, find a good mentor, find a good coach that'll be willing to take you under their wing. This way, they could teach you the right way. They could teach you they could introduce you to the people that they know already, all the successful people, and introduce you to their circle, and guide you the right way, so you're not making the same mistakes that you've made.
What not to do.
Right, exactly. So what's next for you? Because I know this is your 2-year mark. You're definitely going to be 100% real estate.
Absolutely.
No more 9 to 5s for you.
Nope.
It's 100% real estate. Either you make it work or you don't. But right now, you're not even thinking about not making it work. It's going to work.
No.
So you're real estate full-time. You hit your 2-year mark.
Yes.
So what's next? What are you doing? I know you got something big going on starting tomorrow. So what's next?
Right. So with a new brokerage, and that's, like I said, it's very important to find one that's going to back you up. We have the same goals. We have the same mentality as far as succeeding in the real estate industry. Chad and Sandy. So I'm really excited to be a part of them. They've been in the business for 14 years now, and now they decided that they want to expand. And I'm such an honor, privilege to be on their team. So I'm really excited to get started with that tomorrow. So with them, I am going to be their buyer's agent, and with their programs and what they are willing to give to me is just a phenomenal platform that I just cannot wait to hit the sidewalk and just go.
So you're gonna hit it hard.
Yep.
That drive is in you.
Yes.
And that's it. No holds barred.
No holds barred, because I'm telling you, this time, like, my back is up against the wall, and I am literally on the floor. Like my face is on the floor right now. So there's no other way but up for me right now. So I'm going to be out there and I'm going to be grinding, and there's nothing left in me but hustle and drive.
So we're going to see more of you now, huh?
Absolutely.
More social media.
More social media.
More getting out there, more branding, more phone calls. You might even hear a phone call from her. You guys are listed on the anywhere. But yeah, so you're excited for the next 2 years?
Yeah, I'm.
So there's no giving up whatsoever, huh?
Nope, no giving up.
That's
Not
important.
doing it.
You never give up.
Never
That's
give up.
Very important.
So why I don't give up, obviously, is my family and my daughter. You know, my daughter's 9 years old, and there's so much that I want to give her, and there's so, like, I just want to give her everything, just like any other parent wants to. So what's really important to really, like, have, which I like to have, is, they say a vision board. I have a vision wall, which I'm going to go ahead and redo my vision wall, so that way every day before I walk out that door, every day before I'm hesitant to make that phone call, all I got to do is look at that picture, look at my whys, look at why I'm doing it, and just do it, just go for it. So
awesome. Well, can't wait to do the next 2 years and follow up in the next 2 years and see what came of this. I know the first 2 years is hard for any business, especially in real estate. I know a lot of agents that have quit the first year. I know a lot of agents that quit the next year, which will be the 2 year mark, because that's when it's time to renew your license. You got to renew your license every 2 years. So it seems like the failure rate is more the first 2 years, because a lot of people don't renew their license because it is expensive. But you're definitely not giving up. You've already renewed your license, so you're going to hit this ground running.
Listen, I'm in it to win it, and nobody's going to bring me down.
Awesome.
So.
That's what I love to hear. Excellent. Well, would you like to leave the audience with anything?
Just know that I'm going to be out there, that Pamela Vargas is going to succeed, and that I'm not going to give up.
No, you just put that out there to the world, man.
Yep.
You just put it out there to the world.
Yep.
So now you got a bunch of people that are going to hold you up to that.
That's right. And
accountability.
It's what I like.
And for those that are going through the struggles,
don't give up.
Don't give up. Because I can't remember who said this, but they say that when you are just about to give up, that's when the doors are going to open for you.
That is
so
true.
Just remember that. Just don't give up. Well, I appreciate you. And if anybody can follow, well, if anybody wants to find you on social media, where do they find you?
Facebook, LinkedIn. Well, we're on Instagram, Twitter. Call me, 904-263-2404. I'm here for you.
All that information will be down below in the comment section. All right, awesome.
Pleasure.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And
thank you.
I can't wait to do the follow-up the next 2 years and see where we're at.
Wait.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you for watching.
Take care, guys.
Bye.